Services, attorney for claims.
Also, here's Luca Putney Township redevelopment. That's very for everybody's benefit. And you also have Miriam and Ken, who are also part of the plaintiff's team here. And for anybody else's benefit, Mr. Sensendiver had to leave, but Mr. Klosky from the TRF is also present here.
By the way, there was a lot of national attention in this case. Did the federal government in some form, like the Justice Department, intervene or help with the negotiation?
This was a local issue only, and we viewed it from day one as looking toward a global resolution among the parties, and we focused on it in that manner. TRF had been involved in this more than a year ago. They were approached, involved in it. Mr. Sensendiver way before. Mr. Kelly and I were involved. Mr. Sensendiver also engaged in various discussions. So we've been just focusing on that for a long time. So the answer would be no.
Could you just walk through a procedure here for me? Is it you both agreed to this now, and now the next step is do you jointly petition the Supreme Court? Is that what happens?
That's correct.
And when will that happen?
In a day or two, Mr. Maley and I will go together down to district court. We'll electronically file the dismissal of the Supreme Court, and then the dismissal in the district court will happen basically simultaneously.
What turned it in the end? What was the...
I don't know if Olga or anyone has an answer to that, but I think it was the governing body and everyone had a desire to heal the community and to work this out and look toward a global resolution. I viewed it from day one. Lou and I viewed it as not necessarily just a settlement of the case, but a resolution to all of the issues facing Mount Holly. The agreement brings a lot of different positives to the township. It will enable us to redevelop more quickly. And it brings about a settlement for the various plaintiffs, and we're hopeful that things will get built very quickly.
And if I can add to that, this is basically what the plaintiffs have always been requesting, that they don't want the community to develop and them not to be allowed to be a part of it. That they want to be able to stay in this community once it is revitalized. And this is something that we've been seeking for as long as I've been involved in this lawsuit, which is, forever, 10 years. So for us, it's not a new direction or a new position. It's just that we finally were able to meet with council attorneys who were interested and engaged in working on a solution.
Can I ask you about numbers here for a sec? I assume the population is less than it was 10 years ago.
Much less.
Okay, and so what is it now, roughly?
The gardens?
Yes.
Some 60-some families, I
60
believe.
families or 60
Yes.
people?
Families.
There's about just short of 60 units that are still occupied in the gardens, various homes that are still there.
And what would happen to the remainder of those families that are not involved in the suit per se?
Well, at this point, the resolution involves all of the remaining people in the gardens, all of the homeowners, and many of the tenants that we've represented. If you look at the settlement, it's very complete, and there wasn't really some magic that happened at the end. All of the parties have been working very hard on all of the details for a long time. So it's not like there was no settlement, no work, no negotiations, and you woke up one day and there was a settlement. We have been working on the details of this for a very
So
long
what
time.
happened last week? Was it last week?
As the statement
week.
was, we just hadn't finished all of the procedural details, and
Okay.
we continued to work on them this week.
What about the landlords who are there who aren't? There are some landlords that aren't a part of this, correct?
Yes, Lou and I have been in touch with many of them, and we'll continue to be in touch with them now that the township intends to move forward with the redevelopment.
How many of them are there?
There's about a total of about 28, I think, landlord-owned units left, and I think there's like 5 or 6 landlords.
And how much, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to read through the document. How much are you paying per home?
That varies depending on the...
What's the range?
So
We're paying the appraised values of the houses is the short answer, but it varies. Whatever the township appraised value was is basically what's being paid.
Do you have a range? Do you have a total that the town's going to be paying for the homes, the 7 homes?
We have a total, but
there is a
actually
total.
I don't.
There is a
recall
total
off the top.
pot. There's a total identified lump sum that's in the settlement agreement. $691,000. But that covers all the various payments to everybody involved in any way in the settlement.
Plus the purchase price of those 7 units, that encompasses a lot of different things.
Okay, so 691,000.
That encompasses all the various claims, the more minor claims. It also encompasses any relocation benefits to those people who are leaving, plus the appraised value.
And how much is TRF paying for the land for the building?
2.1 million.
2.1 million?
And it will be 200 units, what is the number of units that will be built?
Well, at this point in time, the TRF portion of it is only a small portion of the overall gardens. There will be a total of 44 homes built in that area. That's just a small part of it. Yes, yes.
Okay, can you,
Do you want to move it here to the microphone?
so do you have identified funding sources for your project?
What's on today?
We're able to, because I did,
Yeah.
I am Sean Klosky with TRF Development Partners.
And
How do you
for
spell your
funding,
name?
Sure, C-L-O-S-K-E-Y. And Sean is S-E-A-N.
And his name is in the news release that you'll have.
So we can identify our acquisition funding, but we are in the as any developer does, you acquire a site and then you raise money to develop it. So we will be in the process of doing that.
was there any federal money?
There has been no federal money.
How are the terms of the settlement now different from what the township was offering the residents to relocate before?
Well, the township was never willing to offer replacement homes and give people the opportunity to stay in the gardens. The people were being relocated out before there were any new units available, and there was no guarantee that the new units would be affordable to current gardens residents even after they were built. So that's the big difference. The township has agreed that they won't relocate people until a new unit is available for them, and then that unit will be realistically affordable to them, even given their limited income.
Yes, Ken Goldman with South Jersey Legal Services. I think one thing we wanted to make clear, and what is important, is that the majority of our clients are homeowners, and what our clients wanted all along was to remain homeowners. So originally, if back when this first started, many of them, if they were displaced, they would have been forced to become tenants. So one of our overriding goals, and this is being accomplished through with working with the township and the settlement agreement, is that either seniors or lower-income working families, are going to be able to remain homeowners in the new redeveloped community. And that was really an essential part of the settlement agreement, and it's one of the main principles that guided us throughout the entire case.
And I would just point out that from the day that I was appointed solicitor in January, it was clear that every one of the members of the council, they campaigned on ending this litigation, and this year you had 3 who were just elected jointly campaigning to end this litigation, but they also had the firm belief that they wanted to keep those residents who were remaining as a vibrant part of Mount Holly. That was made clear to me from day one. They believed in that, and they wanted to get that done, and that's exactly what they did tonight.
The part where the replacement houses will be built, are there any landlords in there that you need to resolve that with to be able to move on that?
I believe that there are landlord units, and we've had discussions with them.
Would eminent domain be an option there?
If it needs to, we expect we'll be able to resolve that. I mean, there's been discussions with the landlords for years, and if you recall, the township essentially stopped buying properties a couple of years ago.
So you would consider using eminent domain to get those landlord properties?
If it's necessary, I mean, I don't think that will be at all.
What happens if something happens with the deal where it falls through for the replacement houses? Would you be buying those homes to say something happened? Because for those of us who've covered this for a long time, there's been some, what if something happens with that particular part of the redevelopment deal? The township,
It's all laid out. That's all laid out in the agreement. Under
is it
contingencies.
laid out for the township to buy those homes too?
It's all laid out in the agreement. Yes.
What's that total amount?
I didn't.
If you have to buy all of the homes, what's that total amount?
it would be 150,000 per, but we never expect that'll happen.
150,000 per for all the houses?
No, for the various people who are entitled to replacement houses. So that would be 5 years down the road.
150 per.
We fully expect that it'll be built.
And one of the things that really happened is we really worked as a team to solve the problems that were arising. And so if you look at the settlement, you'll see that we really thought through all the contingencies that could arise and looked at how those problems could be solved to both ensure that our clients were protected and were benefited, with the understanding also that the deal had to work for everybody or our clients could not benefit. So we really tried to figure out in advance what were some of the problems that could arise and how they could be creatively addressed to meet everyone's needs.
I was just sort of looking around to see if I could find somebody who's elected in here. How much of a political issue has this been in the town? Did somebody talk to that?
I can indicate that, having my office been here since the day I became a lawyer, it's been an issue for 10 years, and I can indicate that, it was anything you saw politically, certainly in last year's election, that it was part of the platform for Mr. DeFalco, Mr. Jones, and Mr. Brown to end this. And I know that Mayor Dow also campaigned on that, and I believe Mr. Belton did too. They've supported a resolution to this from the day that I was appointed solicitor, it was made clear.
I don't know if there's any questions from anyone on the phone.
Yeah, I hear a question from somebody on the phone.
Yeah, this is Sean Carr, reporter with SNL Financial. Have any of you had any contacted by the Department of Justice about their interest in the case?
Yeah, for people who didn't hear it in the room, there was a question about whether any of us are contacted by the Department of Justice in relation to the case, and the answer is no.
The only meeting we had was when we had to as part of the Supreme Court, and every party in any Supreme Court case meets with the Department of Justice upon their invitation.
Yeah, the Solicitor General.
Solicitor General.
Both sides. No,
Both sides.
The Solicitor General was requested to submit a brief to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court requested it.
Right.
And at that time, the Solicitor General met with all, representatives on both sides.
This last couple of weeks have been such a whirlwind that I forgot about when we briefed the cert petition. Yeah.
Right. Aside from that, have you had any contact with the officials offering advice on how to handle the case or whether to settle it?
No.
This is Robbie Wheeling for the Wall Street Journal. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi Robbie. This is Olga.
Hi, Olga. I have a question. Forgive me if this is in the settlement already. How much money is the township contributing overall to the settlement, including costs to build the replacement housing and including the payments to folks who have already been relocated?
That's a tough question. I mean, I would have to really look at it. I've provided memos to council as it went along, which are confidential, but certainly the township will be paying the $691,000 globally for the buying of the properties, and then thereafter there are some other details that the township will be spending sums of money, including we're contributing toward the building of a few of the first 4 units, for example, that will be built, will be done a large part of township expense.
But there's no total bill, so to speak, for what the township will owe to the settlement?
Well, I mean, there's other, for example, the township agreed we're going to be paying moving costs when individuals move, which is about $400 per unit. There's other little things, and I don't have that figure for you. You can look at the agreement, and a lot of that is likely laid out in that.
How's the town budget?
Okay, so just 2 quick follow-up questions that are related to that same point. Is the township putting in the bill the units that are going to be built by TRF? Is that aside from the acquisition cost? Or are the units, the replacement units going to be all built by
Sean Clausen again. The replacement units, we will pay for the land, and then it is up to us to raise the money to cover the cost between what the replacement unit cost to build and the revenue we make. And as we've structured it, the idea is to be selling, and this was one of the goals and requests of the plaintiffs, is we want to have a community that has more than simply the folks who are the plaintiffs. The idea is to create a market where there are different income level folks that are also buying houses. We're expecting those houses to be valued about $170,000, which would be in keeping with the market. And then hopefully, the idea in the agreement, the idea is assuming the U.S. real estate market and the resident real estate market is a little stronger, we'd be able to contribute even more to the settlement agreement, which is all money above the 170.
And that's what I was just saying, that the replacement house can already be paying.
That's correct. That's correct. So it is our responsibility to raise the money, and we're a real estate developer, and this is what we do, and we've been doing it for. Yeah. So
But those people, it's also important to point, those people are also giving up their own old home, which of course had equity in it.
Sure.
What about 20 households?
The township offers plus, whatever the rest of the,